Well, it's Monday, the 27th of May, 2024. This is Wes Fryer, and I'm here with Shelley Fryer. And we haven't, I don't think, done an episode of Wes and Shelley Share since February 25th. And so this is episode 26. I have no idea what we're going to talk about. Actually, we do, but I don't know what I'm going to call this. But I think we might reminisce about our Teton backpacking trip and talk about future plans for the summer. So, Shelley, you want to set the scene and tell everybody where we are?
Well, we are at one of our favorite hiking places and springs in Fort Mill, South Carolina. I was just here last weekend with Robbie and Sarah, and we had a nice hike around Lake Hagler, and then came back and sat on the porch. And so Wes and we worked in the yard for about 3 hours today, and we're tired, but we decided we wanted to have a picnic. So we enjoyed the drive up here. So we drove up here and had a nice picnic, and we just walked a little bit down to the river and back. Not really a hiking trip today, just more of a pleasure trip. But we were just reminiscing about our first backpacking trip together. Wes just got the news that a very dear friend, Barbara Dieter, passed away in May. And so he's been going through some photo albums and looking at pictures. And Wes and I made a trip to Wyoming. It was my first trip to Wyoming and to Yellowstone. And it was actually the summer before we got married. So we had been dating, I don't know, a few months. Yeah. So, and decided to take this big trip, this backpacking trip together. So I really think Wes's motive was to make sure that I was going to be a camping, backpacking type of girl. So anyway, I think it was just kind of like, my audition to see if I was.
How did you do at your audition?
I know. I think I did great at my audition. You kept me, didn't you? But anyway, yeah, so we drove through Colorado Springs and stopped and had, I think, a brunch with the Dieters. I don't remember if we stayed there or not. We might have, now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I did, because I think we slept down in the basement.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so we were looking at pictures of those, which made us remember our trip. Because Wes is, you mostly probably know him by his digital. The boy posts multiple times a day. But he used to also do that with photo albums. So before digital, Wes was still taking pictures and still writing things down and still documenting everything. And so, but we have a lot of fabulous pictures from that. So it was a beautiful trip. It was my first trip into those mountains, and it was a great backpacking trip. What are some of the memories you have from that trip, Wes?
Well, because of those pictures, I guess we went to White Sands maybe on the way out there. Yeah.
Haven't been back there since.
The only time the low point. Well, I remember we had a little argument about putting things in like little stuff sacks and separating things when we were packing.
In other words, he wanted to tell me how to pack. I was packing my own way, but he had to tell me how to pack. So anyway,
the low light was that last day when I underestimated how long it was going to be, and we were trudging through some fields and probably hiked at least 2 more miles than
out of our way,
we thought we were going to. But I hadn't remembered, again, from looking at the pictures, that we started off on the tram. And so that was cool. Right. And we rode this gondola up to the top of the mountain. Of course, it's summertime. But then we were able to kind of get a jump start altitude-wise into the Tetons. And I think we did 4 nights. The last night, there was a big thunderstorm. And we were up high on a camp. You have to, camp in designated campsites, and you reserve, and, you can't just go wherever you want. I remember we had a bear go through our camp the first night. We had put our bear bags up and went to get water, and that was, true believer that bear bags are important. What are some of your highlight memories of the trip?
Well, definitely the bear going through. That night on the top of the mountain in the middle of that thunderstorm was a little scary. I do remember that. I kept thinking, lightning strikes and things. It was a big storm. Yeah, it was very loud. I think we saw moose too. Yeah. Yeah, I think we saw moose. I mean, we were in the back country and it was fun. It was really neat. I remember, after we came down off of that last night, but the best, I think the highlight was we stayed at Jackson Lake Lodge and we had dinner that night right up against, I don't know if you've never been to, yeah, in the mural room. If you've never been there, the one whole wall is nothing but glass and it looks out into the mountain range, but there's a big what is that? Lake, I guess.
Kind of marshes.
Marshes. A lot of moose come there. And we were right up against the window, and we got to see the sun come down and the sunset. And oh, do you remember that dessert? We've never had a dessert like it was a key lime tart. It was the specialty of the chef. They had a whole pastry chef. Yeah, and we had prime rib that night. Yeah. So Wes and I like to eat well on camping trips. Anytime really. But it was beautiful. I love staying at Jackson Lake Lodge. We've been back there several times since then. But and we also did the Snake River tour there, and we did. It was a evening tour, so a rafting trip, and it's really slow. It's not whitewater type rafting trip. It's just an evening trip, and you see a lot of wildlife. No, I don't think we ate on it. We just went on an evening trip. It was wonderful. The girls will remember that when we went back to we stayed at Jackson Lake, but at one of the cabins, not in the lodge that night. And we took that Snake River tour with the girls. That was really neat. So, yeah, those are some of my favorite memories of that part of the trip.
I think that we did get to eat dinner there because we didn't with the girls because we went on an earlier one. I think so. I think they made steaks. I don't know. Maybe I'm making that up, but I think we did. I remember when we were in Jackson Hole and we went to this like store that had these incredibly ornate leather sort of chiseled boots. They were like $300 or $400 maybe at least, or who knows, maybe more. It was crazy. But they were beautiful boots. They were like, yeah, they were for ladies. Did we go? We went to Cody. We went to the rodeo probably? I don't remember. Yeah.
We did.
Yeah. What are your impressions of Cody? And by the way, so we're going to talk about summer plans after halftime for this summer, but next summer, we are hoping to go back to Wyoming and hopefully have all the kids and significant others and spouses and, have the whole crew. So that was your first impression of Cody. We've been to Cody several times now. So what would you tell people about Cody, Wyoming?
I love Cody. Cody is wonderful. Of course, it's just neat to have, Wildcat's sister and uncles and cousins, and yeah, happy birthday to Aunt Marge. She's 96 years old today. But Cody's a small country western cow town and great museum. I think that's when we did the museum. Probably with Uncle Dick. I think we did. Uncle Dick was still there. Oh, no, we went back with Alexander when he was 2. That's when I rode the horse. I get all the trips mixed up. But,
Up there 4 or 5 times.
Yeah. And I don't think we stayed at the cabin that trip. I think we stayed with Aunt Marge and Uncle Dick.
Yeah, we stayed.
Anyway, so that was really fun. I love Cody. And I love going into Yellowstone. That was my first time into Yellowstone. And I could go back to Yellowstone every year. I love being, it's so much different from like a zoo. I mean, you see all kinds of animals, but they're just living their lives and they're protected. There's so many people. That's what I don't like. So many people there. Oh, is that when we stayed at Old Faithful Inn in those old rooms where the bathrooms were down? It was like the old original. I don't even think they exist anymore. That was really fun. Yeah, they had bathrooms down the hall. It was the old log cabin style, and yeah, oh man, that was so nice. I love Old Faithful Inn as well. Of course, at Yellowstone, everything's just wall to wall people. But I always kind of dream. I like to get up really early when I'm there and get coffee when most people aren't up, and it's always incredible to see the geyser basin. So it's just magical.
I think we like imagining what it was like in the Gilded Age, where you had probably very fancy evening wear, and of course, this would have been for just a certain segment of society, right? A wealthy, very privileged, segment of society. But that lodge is really, really historic and beautiful. It almost burned in the 1988 fires that unfortunately did consume the dream cabin of my aunt and uncle, Marge and Dick Wilder. But they have rebuilt. They moved 3 cabins from a youth camp to their property, and Tom, one of their sons, primarily Steve too, but primarily Tom's just so handy. And so it's always been a work in progress. It'll be exciting now because we haven't been there for maybe 2 years, 3 years, to see, because they've continued to widen the kitchen. Yep, we were there with Mom, and that was kind of the last hurrah. It was so great. Oh, in fact, Dad was telling me today when I talked to him that Marge, for her 96th, they went to Red Lodge and they went to the Italian restaurant, and that was the one that we got to go with Dad and Mom. So that trip, well, okay, we're leaping ahead, but that trip, which was just that was the summer before we moved, probably, because it wasn't the same summer we moved.
It was family reunion summer.
Family reunion, yeah, 3 years. So it was, Mom had a fall in the parking lot of the motel where they were staying and had to go to the ER. Unfortunately, we were there, and, just Mom didn't need to drive back. And so we ended up kind of changing our plans and then and hanging out with them longer. And then we ended up getting to take this trip with Aunt Marge and my parents up to the cabin. And then we drove over, oh gosh, whatever that pass is that goes to Red Lodge. And so there was this Italian restaurant that Marge and Dad had gone to, I guess, growing up, and it's still there. Anyway, it was just a wonderful, wonderful evening.
Well, and then it was not long after that there was a huge storm, a flood, and flooded the whole downtown of Red Lodge.
I asked Dad about that. I was like, is it still there? And I mean, either they rebuilt it or it wasn't damaged or whatever. So anyway, lots of great memories. I will scan a few pictures of that trip because it's interesting. When digital, basically, I think when Alexander was born around 97, the late 90s was when we started switching over to digital.
So I think it was Sarah.
Was it Sarah Moore?
Most of the pictures we
Alexander?
have of Alexander are all...
Well, maybe I need to digitize those pictures of him. So it was Sarah at 2000. So anyway, lots of pictures in these different albums, and it is fun. Rachel has been a catalyst for me going back and looking at like old pictures from the Academy, and one of my good buddies from Wolfpack, Monty Anderson, was a retired as a colonel in the Air Force, but he is a civilian now working in the physics department. And anyway, I got to introduce them when we were there for Parents Weekend last September, and he was a sub in her class this last year as she was in her freshman year at the Air Force Academy. And so, yeah, she was there. He is, I think, leading this new class on quantum mechanics and quantum physics, and she is considering taking that. So anyway, lots of great memories, and it really is wonderful to have pictures. And one of the things that makes me realize we love our photos that are on Apple TV, and then we will flip over to the Chromecast, because I actually think Google's ability to use smart technology, whatever that's term for it, whatever. It's using AI and the ways that they can recognize faces and animals and scenes, and you can create these called smart albums, and then being able to have those as digital picture frames. Man, that adds a huge element to our quality of life. And I realized this at some point, you know, hey, we're going to be old someday, sitting around watching, looking around at these pictures of the good old days. But it's true, and what a wonderful thing it is. But hey, we are still having adventures, and what was our adventure? Oh, yesterday we went out to Mount Pleasant, and anyway, we had our 28th wedding anniversary. Was it yesterday or the day before? It was the day before, on the 25th. But anyway, we're still having adventures. So tell us one more thing about Wyoming, Yellowstone, the Tetons, and then we'll go to halftime.
Well, one of my dreams someday you are asking me things that I might want to do. So one thing on my bucket list is I would love to go to Old Faithful Inn in the winter. I'd like to do one of the snow coach tours. I'd like to, I also someday, when I was teaching third grade, we kind of studied the wolves of Yellowstone and birds, and it was a wonderful unit, one of my favorites. But in fact, several families, since we studied it so much, took trips to Yellowstone after that. Yeah, so I would also like to go and get up really early and see the wolves. Go out whenever that is. I think in the winter is a good time because there's not as much vegetation around, and they kind of show up more in the snow. But anyway, I would really love to do that. So experience Yellowstone and see, the bison around the hot pools, and anyway, Yellowstone in the winter. I would love that. But I don't think I'll ever get tired of going to Yellowstone. I think I would like to do some of the other places around there, though. Rachel got to take an amazing trip to Utah and visit some places that I've never been to, Arches and Moab, and I don't know, went to Salt Lake City, and I would love to do that. That's a great trip too. I'd also like to go to Glacier, so yeah, and go back to the Sequoias. I really enjoyed that too. So we're kind of in the wrong part of the country now, though. We're a little far away. Yeah. All right, is it time for halftime?
It is.
Hey there, North Carolina! Are you ready to experience a funnel cake revolution? It's time to meet Friar's Funnel Cakes, where tradition meets taste and deliciousness is just a bite away.
Created by two passionate school teachers, Friar's Funnel Cakes isn't just about satisfying your sweet tooth. It's a story of family, dedication, and a sprinkle of teachers' love in every bite.
Imagine a warm, golden funnel cake dusted with the perfect amount of powdered sugar. And wait for it, you get to drizzle as much or as little chocolate syrup as your heart desires.
Got an event? Want to bring some joy to your gathering? Friar's Funnel Cakes is ready to hit the road and bring our sizzling sweet sensations to you.
Don't just take our word for it. Here's what one of our satisfied customers had to say.
Well, I thought I'd had a good funnel cake, but, when I had one of them Friar's Funnel Cakes, it just set a new standard in taste and excellence. It's a game changer for sure.
So, what are you waiting for, Matthews? Head over to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Friar's Funnel Cakes, and let's make your next event a deliciously memorable one.
All right, we're back after that great halftime. And we're going to talk about summer 2024 plans and what we're looking forward to. So I am definitely looking forward to Rachel coming home. It was absolutely wonderful to get to spend last weekend with Robbie and Sarah. Sarah gave Robbie a concert ticket to a country and western band. I think they're from Tyler, Texas, that they saw in Tulsa last year, and they couldn't catch them in Oklahoma, and so anyway, they could catch them in Charlotte. But that was great, and we'll get to see not only, well, we don't know if Robbie's going to go yet, but Sarah and Alexander and Grace in June for our family reunion. And we have that every 3 years. This year it is up in Minnesota on a lake. And probably have to bring our bug spray because my experiences with Minnesota in the summertime was in the Boundary Waters and canoeing, and there were lots of mosquitoes. But also just absolutely beautiful, trees and lakes, and I wonder if we'll catch fish. It's fun. It's a good crew. And this, oh shoot, is that Thursday? Yeah. Okay. It's not, it'll work because it's the time zone. Dad and I are going to do a Zoom oral history interview with our cousin who lives in Hawaii, Alice J. And boy, she is a character. And, I just love oral history, and I've enjoyed doing that with my students the past 5 years as I've been teaching middle school. I've been teaching middle school 5 years. It's kind of cool. It was my 28th year of education, I think. And my school's over, by the way, so I had my last day with students on Friday, and I got my grades in and checked off, all that stuff. Shelley has got 1 or maybe 2 days. She said it depends on what they get done tomorrow, but basically she's got a little bit more this week, and then she is all done. So those are a couple things I'm looking forward to. I could talk about more things, but what are you looking forward to this summer, Miss Shelley?
Well, everything has been finalized now, but Wes and I are going to Kennedy Space Center for this space conference. It's a teacher's conference. A few years ago, we had gone to Johnson Space Center and done their SEEK conference, which is another teacher conference. But Wes put in to present one of his coding units. He does some Minecraft coding. And they were building a Mars outpost. Anyway, he's going to present on that. And thanks to the generous, our school has paid our entrance fees to that, and we'll pay our way. And so we're super excited. I've never been to Kennedy Space Center. So it's supposed to be magnificent. And we may get, Wes may get to see a launch. I could probably see it from away. He put in to do that. So we will see, if it's on time. Those launches, they're unpredictable. But anyway, so I'm super excited about going to space camp this summer. And, I think we're going to start a space club at school. And that's just my passion. It's what I love doing. It's what I love teaching. I got to help put together a space unit for our 5th graders this year. We got to do quite a few NASA lessons, moon matrix lesson where we were choosing a landing site for the Artemis missions. And then we got to do a lunar lander project, engineering design project, and that was really awesome too. So I got my kids really excited about space. In fact, one mother came up to me and said how much her daughter really enjoyed that unit and how she had never seen herself but now in space, but now she wants to go to NASA and she wants to work for NASA. And so that's why I do it. That's why I teach, because I love inspiring students. So that's something I'm really looking forward to this summer, in addition to getting to have Rachel home and maybe doing some camping with her. So
I am looking forward to Dad coming, and our cousin Cole is going to escort him, and that's going to happen in July. I am also going to be writing and publishing some books. I have been working on this Pocket Share Jesus book for over 10 years. And I say working on it, I haven't been working on it constantly. Otherwise it would be done. But I started it over 10 years ago. And so I am looking forward, as of tomorrow, my first real day of summer vacation, going to the library and partitioning off, what do we call it? Making a container for writing. I had to do that when I was finishing my dissertation. And so anyway, there's probably like 5 or 6 different books that I have on my heart that I need to write. And the first one is to get that one done. And one of the other ones, I don't know, we'll see. But I really think that this Coding Mars unit is absolutely fantastic. I mean, being able to work and play in Minecraft with middle school students, developing their computational thinking, using what's called make code in Minecraft. I took over the coding class this last year and taught it in the fall and the spring. One of the things I'm most excited about is just continuing to hopefully inspire and attract more girls to be a part of the class. I had 13 students in the fall, 2 were girls. I had 21 students in the spring, 4 were girls. And next year, with signups and everything, we're expecting there to be 3 sections of coding. And I do not know what the breakdown will be, boys and girls, but anyway, this is just so energizing. There's so many exciting things happening with space all the time. But yet, if you don't have someone in your life, teacher or otherwise, who's passionate and talking about it, or you yourself are just going and seeking it out, you don't know about what's happening in space because that does not get the publicity that it should. And so anyway, I know that Shelley absolutely comes alive when she is learning about space and she is sharing and she's creating lessons and, like she said, working with students. And so that is incredibly important to me, that we both are able to work where our passions are. And so I'm looking forward also just to continuing the journey with our church. One of the things, I don't know that, it won't happen while Rachel's here unless we do something special, but we've been volunteering the first Friday of each month to serve food at the Levine Men's Shelter operated by Roof Above, which is a local nonprofit that is our church's partner for our affordable housing project at church. And anyway, we love our church. We love so many things about our church and the work that we're doing there, just the community that we're building. Do you want to, well, this isn't really the forward, but, well, I guess it could be Montreat, because we're thinking about camping with Rachel, maybe at Montreat, and you want to give us a quick recap of the women's conference? One of the reasons people ask us, why did you move to North Carolina? And I'll quickly say, lots of green trees. But one of the big reasons is because Shelley went to church camp here 3 years, once as a camper and twice as a counselor at Montreat. And so, do you want me to put that back on her?
No,
She jumped out of it? Okay, here, tell us about Montreat and the women's.
Well, honey, it's messed up. You have to fix it. Okay. Montreat. We had a women's retreat. It was awesome. It was really great going back. I got to stay at an Assembly Inn. Got to continue getting to know some of the women at our church. It was just really neat to connect. Yeah, Montreat is it's a Presbyterian college, but it's also a community. There are a lot of homes, summer homes. It has a little college. It's a retreat center for the Presbyterian Church.
Like Mo Ranch.
Kind of like Mo Ranch, yeah, kind of like Mo Ranch. Every summer they have 3 sessions of youth conferences. It's really big. And so when I was in high school in West Texas, Lubbock, Texas, our youth group was small, so they got together with all of the presbytery and got a big Greyhound bus, and so we drove up here to North Carolina to go to camp. And I did that once as a camper and twice as a counselor. It was fun. It was so great. Really great memories from all of that. And so it's when, Wes and I were just dreaming about places where we could go. North Carolina was at the top of my list for sure, because I remember just the mountains and how beautiful it was. I'd never really been around deciduous forests. I'd always been to like Colorado and New Mexico with the pinewood forest. And then Wes and Sarah and I all got to go in the fall. Poor Sarah didn't enjoy that trip very much. She was actually pretty sick. We didn't know it. But, oh man, I want to do that in the fall again. Just absolutely stunning.
Right after this.
Yeah, we were right there, right after peak. So it was just gorgeous. So anyway, that was fun, and we're looking forward to. They do have some campsites there, but there's also some neat places to camp. So we may go up there around Montreat with Rachel.
And there's another campsite that I think is fairly close to Linville Falls, which has so far been our favorite place to car camp in the Blue Ridge Mountains on the Parkway. And it is a partner camp to Ann Springs Close Greenway, which is where we are right now. And so we're actually members here, and so I think we can get a little discount. And we were checking that out, and they've got hikes and waterfalls and horseback riding and a lot of stuff. So maybe Montreat, maybe this other camp by Linville Falls, maybe both. I don't know. We don't want to pack Rachel's summertime with us too full of constant activities. We truly want to unplug, and we just love being outdoors and being able to enjoy nature. We are becoming quite, especially Shelley, the bird watching people.
More listening.
Well, but yeah, she uses the Merlin app. If you don't use the Merlin bird app, it's super cool because you open it up and it records and it tells you what birds you're listening to or what, that are singing at the time. And you can report those as a citizen scientist. Anyway, that's a true sign of getting old because we are really into the birds. But it's great. And I love how, we're sort of back to our roots of camping and, hiking. And I don't know that we'll be doing backpacking overnight this summer, but we'll definitely be out enjoying nature and enjoying the wonderful wilderness. So, Shelley, in leaving a message for your current children and your future grandchildren related to outdoors and hiking and being away from the busyness of life, what would you want to share with them?
Well, I just hope that we get to do some camping together. I really enjoyed growing up camping with my dad and fishing with my dad, and he fostered a love of the outdoors with me, and that definitely was something that Wes and I had shared and had in common. And so I just look forward to more opportunities to be out in nature, having adventures with my children and with my grandchildren. And, Wes and I are always thinking, oh, this is a place we could bring Rachel. This is a place we could bring Sarah. This is a place, we want to take Alexander and Grace here. So anyway, just everywhere we are, there are memories of our family with us and dreams of the future.
And I think one of our actual strategies of life, because we do not have grandchildren and we're not rushing anyone to have grandchildren, but we want to live, hopefully, in a beautiful place that we can enjoy with our family on holiday times, and that our family will want to come visit us, and that will just offer a lot. And North Carolina, I think North Carolina has been everything and more than we've dreamed and hoped it would be. So we are wishing you the best and hoping that you will have a restful summer, and we will do our best to try and do a few more podcast episodes more frequently, because we were pretty good when we first started doing this almost weekly, and then we went like multiple months without it. So what do we say? It's been so long, I don't even remember. Something about go outside, stay curious.
And have adventures.
That's right. Something like that. Yep.
Sarah will remind us.
That's right.
In the outro.
Adios, folks.
I guess.
Wes and Shelley Share is a weekly podcast recorded and published on Sundays by Wesley and Shelley Fryer of Matthews, North Carolina. Learn more and find links to connect on social media to Wes and Shelley by visiting shelleyfryer.com/podcast. Content on this podcast is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Only 3.0 license. The Wes and Shelley Share podcast is recorded and published with Anchor and distributed on all major podcast channels, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, and more. Please share our show on social media and tell others about us. Let us know on Facebook or via other means what you like about the show, that you're listening, and if you have any suggestions for future episodes. Stay curious, go outside, and keep exploring.